Hi, this is Dave Gallagher with 3D Appeal blog, and today we're going to be looking at the character Cliff from Chris. And this is the drawing that Chris provided, and this is my take on what the model could be and should be. And the original model looks like this. So, getting beyond the fact that the pupils have this sort of vacant stare, because that's just the position they were in. So getting the pupils to a better position gives it more appeal. And that's kind of a pose. But the first thing I notice when I look at this is the way the face wraps. So if you look at this angle, you see this really aggressive bend to the face. The face is kind of folded a little bit. And what I like to see in models is that they get a little bit flatter so that the features exist more in a plane. And that's the way people draw when they draw appealing characters. Without really knowing it, things tend to exist on a plane to one degree or another. There's a little bit of bend in it, but the reason for that is that because you want to see that other eye back there. You want to catch a glimpse of the features of the face as it wraps around. The most important view in the model is the three-quarter view. And this is the three-quarter view of this drawing, right? It's drawn slightly away from camera. And when you're in that pose, what you don't want to see is nothing. And this model wraps so aggressively that you can't see the other side of the face. And so you can't even see the eye because the pupil, the eyeball itself is very flat. So this is a big no-no and what you want to avoid. So what you want to see when you look around here is the other side of that face. We want to catch this this eyeball sticking out from behind the nose. So the nose needs to occlude that eyeball, and then we need to see that. So that's what we want to see when we look to the other side of the face. Then we want to see the brow up there. So that's the first thing I notice is just the way this model wraps or has too much peakiness to that shape. We want forward-facing eyes, and this is one of the things that gets him kind of like almost like animal looking. The other thing that looks a little bit animal is you want to be careful. I didn't look at this in the model, but you want to be careful of really tiny teeth, because then you open that mouth, he gets like a rabid look, like he's some kind of animal. So those two things make him look kind of animalistic: the angle of the eyes and the tiny little teeth. All right, so let's talk about the nose for a second. You know, it's a cool idea to have a big nose, right? But this nose is too big. It, like you said in an email to me, it gets in the way because you get that head moving, and this gigantic nose is just flying around screen space, and it just looks very strange. So you can get the same kind of flavor, but pull it back. So I'm going to say a much smaller nose. And I'm going to say don't attach it so that it gets very thin right at the base. I think it looks better, and I'm going to switch to my proposal here, like this, where, all right, it still has that nice Hanna-Barbera kind of influenced shape to it, but it doesn't get too thin right before it attaches to the face. All right, now, and also look at the way that this face is more flat as you wrap around to this direction. You know, it doesn't bend too aggressively from the top view. And as we go around to that three-quarter, well, look at that. Now we have this view here of being able to see that eye and the nose coming around, and so we get to see both eyes. The other thing from the three-quarter view is you want to catch a little bit of that cheek and a little bit of that brow. It doesn't have to be too much, but just a little bit. And what that's going to do is, during expressions, that brow and that cheek are going to pull together and then push apart for other expressions. So here's the compression in the face. The cheek comes up, the brows go down, so that's going this way. And the opposite then would go this way. The brows would go up, and there's the eyeball there. So this, like a cantilever or something, it's coming together and it's pushing apart. And so you need a little bit of description of those structures on the face, those landmarks to get that to happen. All right, so anyway, getting back to the nose. So this sort of has the flavor of the drawing, but I don't think it's going to be quite as problematic. So the nose is kind of the big thing to address. Now the next thing I see looking at this is that it's kind of has a ripply appearance. And so one thing you want to look out for is just those highlights. So as we roll around the model, you see that the highlights are revealing sort of like a rippled look. So what you're getting is this bump, 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 and for the most part, unless you're doing like creature work and stuff, but in the world of feature animation, generally you want to avoid like a rippled look. So you want to smooth that out as much as possible, which is what I've tried to do in the version of the model. Okay. Next thing is you've got this the upturned brow, the sad brow, and that is shaping the eye. And so your interpretation in the model is to actually get this otherworldly shape out of the eye. I would not do that. How I think about this is that this is a pose where the brows are kind of coming down, which is shaping the eye, but you don't want to get that in the default, and don't want to get too peaky here, or else you get locked into that shape. You won't be able to get out of it. So what you want to do is sort of round this out. I'm drawing with a mouse here, and then during a pose you might get something like that. So that's why in the model I'm proposing something like this. It's more round, and then when it poses, that's going to pull down this part here, and you're going to get a look very much like that. And so you've got this nice, in the drawing, you've got this nice little bag developing under the eye, but it fades away. This is a really nice thing I like to do, I like to see in models, is that bag developing right here, but then changing, and as you get further away from the corner of the eye, it goes away. That is something that I always appreciate. And with organic forms, there's always a change over distance, or very often there's a change as you roll around a form, as you progress down a form. You want changes to happen. So when things look the same all the way through, then it looks machined. So that's a problem I have with this, is that there's like a roll around the eye, and all the way around it kind of looks similar enough. Of course, there are slight changes, but these distances kind of carry through too far, and you get a sort of a mechanical look about it. Okay, and then when you look up through here, you want to make sure that those pupils, that those nostrils have some length to them. And the way the ear attaches, you have to be really careful not to pinch it too much. I like ears to be grounded and feather out from the form, and not detached visually. And then just looking at the overall big picture, what you want to strive for is to get the overall forms to have a pleasing overall shape. And so what I'm seeing here is that well, from the front view, then we have a sort of an egg kind of a shape, which is okay, I guess, but I don't think it's as appealing as it could be. But again, three-quarter view, super important. What I'm seeing here is, again, that shelf that wraps too quickly, and this shape, and then the neck gets thin here and comes back out again. I don't think this is generally an appealing shape, so you want to strive for something that has cleaner lines, and which is what is drawn over here. It's a little bit cleaner in the sort of the overall. The oval is more ovular, how do you say that? And then the neck is more continuous. And so you just want to be careful of forms that sort of pinch and come back out again. You want to make sure that you use those judiciously. And same thing with the side. I've added more skull in the back to that side view. Okay, and then you see how the neck doesn't pinch, get thin, and then come wide again. You want to be careful about getting too detailed in the geometry, and so I've removed rows from the mouth area. See how that's a lot lighter, You could go a little denser, but you don't want to go as dense as this. I don't think there's any call for it, and it's just going to bog you down. And then rather than keeping this as far out as that, I think you could still have that look and have that be sort of a pose where you could push the lip forward if you need to. But when I look at this drawing, I see that this is my interpretation, that it comes out a little bit, but not a ton. And that'll be actually more stable for animation. With the eyeball, just make sure that you keep the eyeball more or less spherical, because the flat eye that was in there, you can't rotate that and have it make sense. If it's latticed a certain way, the setup will work, but it's not really necessary, and you can get a rounder eye as long as the eyeball is bigger. You want the eyeball to be bigger than life, but not, but still close to a spherical shape. So Chris, there are some solid ideas for you, and take it away with this character Cliff, and good luck.